Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, with the season 4 update, we got a ton of weapon tuning, including to the SMG category. And with that, things shifted a little bit here and there in terms of what is the best SMG, what's just general meta in that specific category as is. So today we're breaking down the new SMG meta for season 4. As we go through it all, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. So first up, we got the Owen gun. I mean, we all know this has been a top SMG for multiple seasons now. It's been the best SMG in the game. I don't think it's at that point anymore, but it easily still is one of the top SMG options. They did end up nerfing a bit of the builds that we've had previously that were meta, like the Shrouded Barrel got some different changes to it, although they also buffed it in the same way. But it didn't really, shift up or down in terms of its general viability, if that's a word, right, for what's going on here. I mean, it's still easily one of the better SMG choices, especially because we're all familiar with it as well. So first up here, we're going for recoil booster. Truly, I think the best build to be running still is this no barrel build, so we're not going for anything in this case. We're instead going to go for something like the Slate Reflector, the remove stock for that better mobility. Honestly, for the underbarrels, you've got multiple different options now. Honestly, like Skeletal, pretty solid because it does actually increase your mobility now because of the changes with the season 4 update. I still feel like hand stop is probably the best way to go, at least specifically on the Owen, just because there is a bit of recoil there. We are using the 60 round drums here for that best TTK. You could go for some sonic, frangible, or lengthened here, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna go for some sonics to stay off the radar. We're gonna go for the taped grip to give us that better movement speed, make it a little bit more agile and aggressive. Acrobatic on there, and then also quick as well, per usual. The deadly duo for speed on most of the Vanguard subs. Like I said, this build is still holding its own. Now, a weapon that we actually didn't see adjusted in the season 4 update is the MP40, which of course means it's still a top option. It's got great mobility, a very solid TTK, low recoil, like all around. This is one of the more well-rounded SMGs that we have in the game. It doesn't excel in any one particular category. It's just really good across the board, right? Setup here, pretty basic because we didn't see any changes. We're still using the old one that was working back in season 3, which is the recoil booster. We're gonna go for the short barrel on there as well. I like the Slate Reflector, always running folding stock on here, never removed, because this isn't really going to help you that much with general mobility. You get the better movement speed, but it's focusing on hip fire, whereas folding is movement speed and sprint to fire, which is a lot more important in this specific build. We're gonna go for the skeletal underbarrel here for that better ADS and movement in general. Gorenko 45, subsonic, lengthened, frangible, whatever you prefer yet again. We're also going for tapes yet again. Gonna end up running perfectionist or steady here. I'm not a huge fan of really any of the perks on the MP40, unfortunately. Then lastly, we got quick once more. Like I said, very solid all-around setup. Now, I'm glad I can talk about the Mac 10 yet again. That said, it's not like the #1 go-to SMG in the game right now. Its close range TTK really is not all that impressive, but the season 4 update did actually extend its minimum damage range, which is its long range or medium to long range area, meaning for sniper support, the Mac 10 is actually one of the best guns in the entire game, and I love that. I'm a huge fan of the Mac 10. The setup though, because it's a Cold War weapon, let's all be honest, it's kind of boring. Obviously, we're going for like the basic copy and paste here. Agency, Task Force, Tiger Team, the 53 round drum on. I like the Serpent Wrap on there. You could also go for something like the Bruiser Grip and just have even faster mobility if you wanted that as well. You could also go for something like a Raider stock if you wanted to, but Mac 10 definitely going to feel a bit better than it was last season. We also got to talk about the Armaguerra. This to me is one of the top choices for sure, maybe top 3, I would argue. I love this thing. It's got great mobility, really good control, and it's just consistent when it comes to damage. I've really been enjoying this over the past couple of seasons, and it actually got some pretty solid changes with season 4 as well. Setup is going to be similar to the one that we've been running for a bit now. Recoil booster. I'm still liking the precision barrel on here, the 570, just because it gives you that solid control, but you really don't lose all that much speed. Like, we can gain some of this back, which is nice and ideal, so we have a more well-rounded class setup. Slate Reflector on there, skeletal stock for the better strafe speed and whatnot. The mobility is actually really fun here. Skeletal underbarrel here now as well. I'm going for the basic 9mm extended mag here, the 60 rounds. Also going to go for subsonic once more. Taped per usual. You're going to see a ton of that throughout the video if you haven't realized that already. Hard scope for better control, and then also quick on there once more. I like the fact that the setup's a little bit different because of some of the changes, makes it feel a bit more fresh and honestly even more consistent. Following that, we've got the Blixen. Again, probably a top 3 SMG in the game right now. This and the Armaguerra up there, and of course we're gonna get to what else is up there later on into the video. This didn't really see a ton of changes with the season 4 update. It saw a slight buff to the best TTK build. It also saw some nerfs, so it was sort of a balanced update update to it, I guess you could say, but it really doesn't change the setup all that much outside of the standard stuff that's going to be across the board with some of the other subs. RMK barrel on here yet again, gonna go for the slate reflector. The MB stock I prefer a little bit over removed for the better control. Gonna end up running the skeletal under barrel here yet again. The 54 round mags, once again subsonic or whatever ammo you prefer. Taped grip, and then also we're gonna go for fleet here actually, just for the better swap quickness, and then also the better movement speed. Then once more we are going for quick on there again. Perk 2, if you haven't realized, incredibly boring. Now another non-Vanguard SMG, the Cold War MP5. It's close to being like, it's borderline, I guess you could say, of if it's a top SMG or not. It's on the lower end of the top SMGs for sure, but it does have a very consistent TTK. It also has really good mobility for a non-Vanguard weapon, so I'm a fan of it in that regard. Here we're going for agency suppressor. We're gonna run Tiger Team Spotlight, the Bruiser grip, the 50 round drum on here, and then also either Serpent Wrap or the Raider stock. You don't need a barrel here. It doesn't really give you anything extra, but this is nice and agile. It's fast, and like I said, has a really solid TTK. Now, the other one of the top 3 SMGs I would say in the game is the Marco 5. It's this, it's the Armaguerra, it's the Blixen, at least in my own opinion. This thing flies, it fries. I've been loving this thing lately. It's just a ton of fun to use. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the setups for it over the past few days, though. Recoil booster, the 240 barrel, gonna go for slate yet again. Gonna go for the Asada stock here, or the FR stock. Asada's better for control, and then the FR is better for general mobility. So whichever you prefer there, go for that. If you need some help with the control and the recoil, go for obviously the recoil stock. If you want mobility, go for FR. We're also going to end up running the skeletal here as well, which I've really just been enjoying on a lot of my SMGs, as you can tell. 64 round drums, subsonic on there yet again. We also got the taped grip. For perk 1, I'm going to run Gung Ho for that instant sprint to fire, and then perk 2, again, we are going to go for quick on there as well. I also feel like the Vanguard PPSH is a contender in this SMG meta. It has a very solid TTK, especially for a hipfire build and an ADS build. Like, both of them are extremely competitive. I prefer the ADS build, so we'll go ahead and kit that out accordingly in this video, but hipfire we've talked about a lot in the past. If you're interested, you could always search that up on the channel as well. It just depends on what you want to play, right, in a certain game. If you want to run around and hipfire and just go crazy like that, or if you maybe want some more consistency with an ADS build, in which case you'd go for the 300 barrel, the recoil booster. I actually just like one of the basic iron sight alternatives here. The ISO 3P is pretty solid. Remove stock for that better mobility. Again, we're gonna go for the skeletal underbarrel on there. If you struggle with the control a little bit, go for something like the hand stop. That would also work just fine on here. We're gonna go for the basic extended mag, the Garanko 71, subsonic yet again. Gonna go for taped on here. Perk 1, tight grip for that better control, and then perk 2, to no one's surprise, we are also running quick. I know, crazy stuff. And then lastly, I got the Type 100. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really use the Type 100 all that much, but you can't deny the stats. The thing has an absurd TTK. I don't really like how it feels, but there's plenty of players out there who are comfortable with having that smaller magazine and kind of shaky recoil, because the thing will just erase players up close, right? So first up here, we're going for the recoil booster. I like the ADS strafe build that is a little bit more fast, so we're gonna go for the light barrel here for that better strafe speed and also better sprint to fire. Slate reflector yet again. We're actually gonna end up using the folding stock, which is again better aim walking move speed or strafing speed, which makes it very fast when you're aiming down sights. It's a little bit tricky to get used to at first because you're moving around faster than you would think, but it ends up being very beneficial in game. I am going to use hand stop in this case because there is some more noticeable recoil here. 30 Russian short will give you the best TTK. If you want to use that, go for that. I prefer 48 just because it's better in some larger squad sizes, and I feel like it's a little bit more reliable when it comes down to it. Subsonic on there. We got to go for taped on all the Vanguard subs because that mobility boost. You could go for Gung Ho here, honestly, if you wanted to. You could also go for acrobatic. Totally comes down to preference there. And then also for perk 2, I know this might come as a major surprise, but I am going to end up choosing quick here instead of fully loaded. But if you want to use fully loaded, you could also use that. But if you want to use quick, you could also use that. You see how that works. That said, those are the top SMGs in the game right now. Pretty much all Vanguard subs and all the non-mentioned Vanguard subs in this video, things like the well gun and whatnot, also could fit into the SMG meta, but it's I'm not gonna lie, kind of boring when it's just one game's weapons being featured in and of itself. I do think things like the Mac 10, the Cold War MP5, maybe you could make some arguments for the MW MP5 or the AUG as well, but close range, I mean, it's all Vanguard, right? That's gonna wrap things up though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it, and if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you are up to date with everything going on. But until next time, guys, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.